Sometimes a picture is worth 1,000 words. At any given office, you'll find a blend of personalities, from the overly chatty to the obsessively organized. But every so often, you come across a coworker who makes you dread the daily grind. For Diana, that person was Carmen, a master at shirking responsibility and spreading misery. It all started with Carmen's notorious habit of commandeering meetings. Whenever a team project was up for discussion, Carmen would find a way to assign her responsibilities to someone else. She would often come to the meeting unprepared, then smile sweetly and say, "Diana, you're so much better at this than I am. Could you handle it?" And it wasn't just Diana. Carmen had a talent for dumping her work on anyone within earshot, leaving the rest of the team buried in tasks while she took credit for the results. Carmen's incompetence was never more apparent than when it came to handling important communications. Once, she was responsible for sending out a company-wide email announcing a major policy change. Instead of drafting the email carefully, Carmen hastily wrote a confusing message full of errors, then decided to forward it to Diana with a simple, "Can you fix this? I'm swamped." Diana, knowing the importance of the email, had to stay late to rewrite the entire thing from scratch. Despite her efforts, the confusion from Carmen's original draft led to numerous complaints, and Diana got an earful from their boss. Perhaps the most infuriating habit of Carmen's was her tendency to steal credit for other people's work. During a big client presentation, Diana had spent weeks perfecting the proposal. But when the day came, Carmen swooped in and presented Diana's work as if it were her own. The client was impressed, and Carmen basked in the praise while Diana sat quietly in the back, seething. The breaking point came just before Christmas. Carmen had been particularly sloppy, and her mistakes were becoming impossible to ignore. She'd recently handed off a critical report to Diana at the last minute, claiming she had an emergency and had to leave early. The report was riddled with errors, and when it was submitted, their boss assumed the mistakes were Diana's. She was called into a meeting where her job was on the line. Though Diana managed to explain the situation and save her position, the close call left her furious and humiliated. Diana stewed over the near disaster, her anger bubbling until she decided she couldn't let Carmen get away with her behavior any longer. She wanted revenge, but something subtle, something that would hit Carmen where it hurt. She remembered hearing through the office grapevine that Carmen had recently gone through a messy divorce. Carmen's ex-husband, Mark, was a friendly guy Diana had met a few times at company events. On a whim, Diana reached out to him. To her surprise, he was more than willing to help her with her plan. They arranged a photo shoot where Diana wrapped her arms around Mark's waist, the two of them smiling like a happy couple. The plan was simple. Diana would place the photo on her desk, in a spot where Carmen was sure to see it. Christmas was fast approaching, and the office was buzzing with holiday cheer. Diana casually placed the framed photo on her desk, making sure it was in Carmen's direct line of sight. It didn't take long for Carmen to notice. She stopped dead in her tracks, her eyes narrowing as she took in the image. "Is that?" Carmen began, her voice barely above a whisper. Diana smiled sweetly. "Oh, this? Yes, that's me with Mark. We ran into each other recently and thought we'd catch up." Carmen's face turned crimson. She stormed out of the room without another word. For the rest of the day, she avoided Diana like the plague. The office buzzed with speculation about the photo, with everyone wondering if Diana had really started dating Carmen's ex-husband. Diana's plan had worked better than she could have imagined. Carmen's usual swagger was gone, replaced by a noticeable tension whenever Diana was around. But as the days went by, Diana began to question herself. Had she crossed a line? The photo was harmless enough, nothing inappropriate, but the implication was there. Was it cruel to make Carmen believe she was dating her ex, even if only for a short time? Some of her co-workers, who had suffered under Carmen's reign of terror, quietly applauded Diana for putting her in her place. Others looked uncomfortable, unsure if the prank had gone too far. Diana couldn't shake the feeling that she might have gone overboard, even though Carmen had driven her to it. So Diana turns to the internet for a verdict. After enduring months of Carmen's toxic behavior, was she justified in getting a little revenge? Or did she go too far by involving Carmen's personal life in their workplace feud? As the office settles back into its routine, the question lingers in the air. Is Diana the asshole, or did Carmen finally get what she deserved?